model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Ral. And this week I'm going to feature a restoration here of a pretty rare car. I'm sure you recognize it. This is a 70 Camaro SS396. Most people call it a 70 and a half Camaro. That's what everybody says. But officially GM, it's still a 1970 Camaro. So that being said, due to it was actually introduced in February of 1970, and production was going on, or starting on, but it was really late. Read multiple reasons. There was a strike at the plant, and there were some tooling issues. Don't really know, 100% sure, what the factors really were. A completely different car, and which I think is interesting that the 69s were a notchback and a convertible, and then this car became a fastback. So I got a kick out of that, and I've always conspired to wonder why. Barracuda, they had for 69 and older, they had the convertible, the fastback, and the notchback. But for 70, the Barracuda and Cudas went to notchback and convertible only and dropped the fastback, and Chevrolet did quite the opposite and went fastback only, sport coupe. But beautiful design, beautiful car, but the SS package is very rare on these. But the production went really well. So for 1970, even though it started off in February, they still managed to crank out 124,000 Camaros. 12,000 of them were 6 cylinders, 112,000 of them were 8-cylinder cars. But most people see and know of the Z28 as the top performer, and it is a top performer in its own right. And 8,700 of those were sold. I think the number is 8,733. But when it came to the SS package, the SS396, that was a rare package. The SS396 was the only way you could get the 396 in a Camaro, which actually displaced 402 cubic inches. So it really wasn't 396 anymore. They bumped up the... it was just bored out just a little bit more, but it was for smog reasons, they said, just to give it a little extra displacement to kind of make up for the extra smog equipment. That's what I had read on why they went to the 402. But with all the marketing and everything that they did to market the SS396 name, they decided to leave the SS396 name on there and not change it to the SS402. Even though the sales brochure actually listed the LS6 and some brochures listed the LS7 454s as being available in the Camaro, none of them actually made it. It was only the two 396s. The low horse of the two, the 350 horse, L34 is the 350 horse, but a little over 1,200 of those were made. Now when it came to the L78 solid lifter cam 375 horse 396, roughly 600 of those were made. So when it comes to the SS 396 package in a 70 Camaro, they're rare. So what is it, 2,400 SS models versus 8,700 Z28s. And also for 1970, it was the last year you can get the 12-bolt rear end in the F-body from the factory. 71 and 72, you couldn't get the 12 bolts anymore. But this one was one that I had built and restored. I got some pictures of what I started with. Really was a pretty nice car to start with. This is actually the MPC version, not the AMT. And then I added the mirrors. The mirrors are resin, and they're from Scale Equipment Limited, which you'll see a lot of my restored F-bodies have those. And this one has the 70 interior, which has this really weird console in it. And it has a full-length console, goes all the way back. And that's what the AMT kit came with, or MPC kit came with. I actually haven't had an AMT, and it's got a really funky shifter in there too. But a pretty nice dash and interior. But other than that console, which the 71 and 72 kits had a much nicer console. And this one, and it's also the only year for the standard front bumper, not the RS package when it comes to the model kit. Now the Z20, not the Z28, the RS package, 24,000 of the 70 Camaros came with the RS package. So 100,000 of the standard bumper and 24,000 of the RS package. So the RS package is pretty rare, on top of being an SS and Z28. So to have a real one with the RS package is pretty rare. But when it came to the model kit, this and AMT both had the standard front end for 70, and then the MPC went to the RS front end. But this one, it was all complete. I just had to rechrome everything and detail it out. Now I went with Frost. What is it? Lime Frost Metallic, I believe is what this one was called. I just wanted something really subtle to do the SS, and I also did the low spoiler, which is common for 70. The tall rear spoilers were actually a Copo item for 70, so finding a tall rear spoiler on a 70 from the factory is very rare. Same thing with the front spoiler. Very few of them had the front spoiler, but the kit didn't have the front spoiler, so I built this one without the front spoiler, of course. And the low rear spoiler. The later kits, I've got a 71 to restore that has that spoiler, which really shouldn't have on a 71, but I guess some of them did. And one of the other things I didn't have the stock wheels, so I used these wheels, which were available on the Camaro, and I believe those came from one of the AMT Nova kits. And then later AMT tires that I detailed out and foiled it. But this is one that I did a long time ago. Really happy with the way it came out. Here's the underside. Oh, there goes the hood. So you can see the underside and all the molded in details. This thing, it had the roll bar and a few of the custom parts on it, but a lot of the stock parts were there. I don't remember if this is one of the ones where I had to dig up the stock exhaust and without being cut away from the rear axle. So I had a few that way. I did have to get the intake though, because this one had the race intake and stuff, so I had to find but a lot of the kits came with the stock carburetor and intake, so swapping that and finding that wasn't too difficult. And then the original kit hood that has the markings on the bottom, so you can cut it out for the big blower. Finding these without the hood cut out is pretty unusual. I've got a few, but I have a Model Haas hood for a 71 to restore, but I think it's because the corner was broken. But this one was a fun build for me, and one that I hunted down and been wanting for a while, the Super Hugger, because it seems like almost all of these, when I find them, they were built as the race cars, and this one really wasn't much different. It had some of the race car stuff on it, but everything I needed to build it stock was there. Another thing with the SSs of these, you see a lot of them now that have the rally stripes on them, but none of the SSs actually had those stripes. That was a Z28 only option. People were doing it. But the black tail panel, like I did on this one, was there. Another thing I thought was interesting with the MPC kits, for some reason on the Camaro, it says USA 1. It doesn't say 1970, and it doesn't say 1971 on those. But the 72s actually say 1972. I have a 72 that I finished, but I haven't done one of the 71s. Don't know why. Just for some reason, I was doing a bunch of the F-bodies and restoring them, but I kind of got a little burned out or worn out on them. But this one being the solid front bumper. So I'm looking forward to the new Tool AMT kit, solid front bumper kit that's supposed to be out real soon, which is one of the reasons why I dug this out and was going over some of the info and the specs on these, was because that tool is coming out and I'm looking forward to building it. Even though for some reason I've got the other two RS Z28 and the Baldwin Motion Camaros, I still haven't built either one of those two. Looked them over many times. I think I pulled the parts off of the trees, was getting them ready. It was one of the ones that for some reason I didn't get started on it. But I always liked the way these MPC ones actually look and the way the body is shaped. They just look perfect to me. Other than not coming with mirrors, that just bothers me that they did not come with any mirrors. But that's why I bought a bunch of these mirrors from Scale Equipment Limited, and which are resin. But I bought a bunch of those and added them to a bunch of my builds here when it came to these. So you'll hear me talk about that a lot. And then all the detailing went on this. But this one was actually a pretty easy restoration to do. But I figured I would show it to you this week. I haven't shown any of these ones, so I would show you this one and see what you guys thought of it, and I hope you enjoyed it. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing and sharing and all of your comments. I appreciate it. And you guys, you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next Saturday.